Okay, so are you ready to dive into some seriously interesting stuff today?
Always ready for a deep dive.
Right. So we're going to be taking a look at this list I found, and it's all about the worst foods that,
Oh, worst.
yeah, supposedly the absolute worst foods that you should never, ever eat.
Oh, but
But we're not just going to like take it at face value, right? We're going to break it down and
please.
see, like what's the science behind it?
Right.
And is it really as bad as they say? Like, do we need to like totally freak out and never touch these things again? Or
Yeah.
is it all a little bit,
Overblown.
yeah, a little bit overblown, right? So,
I think anytime someone says you should never eat something,
right.
it's probably a good idea to take a closer look
Exactly.
at the why behind that.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a deep dive into this list
Yeah.
of the top 10 worst foods you should never eat.
Okay.
And see what's what.
I'm intrigued.
Let's do it. So number 10 on this list is processed meats,
Okay.
which,
Big category.
it's a big category. It includes like the bacon, the sausage, the hot dogs,
The deli meats.
deli meats. I mean, pretty much all the good barbecue stuff
Yeah.
is in this category.
Right.
So what is it about processed meats that makes them so, uh, so bad?
Well, there's a few things going on. First of all, a lot of these meats they're very high in sodium,
Right.
which we know is not good for our blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the issue of nitrates.
Nitrates are there.
And these are added to processed meats as preservatives, helps them last longer on the shelf.
Right.
But studies have shown a link between nitrates and an increased risk of certain types of cancer.
Okay, so that's a little bit concerning.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess the question is like,
How much are you really talking about here?
yeah, exactly. Like most people I know aren't eating like pounds of bacon every single day.
Right.
So is this something to really worry about if you're eating it like, in moderation?
Well, I think it's all about balance, right? If you're having a bacon cheeseburger once a month, you're probably not going to see any major health consequences from that.
Right.
But if processed meats are a regular part of your diet, like, you're having a ham sandwich every day for lunch,
Yeah.
then it might be worth thinking about making some swaps. Maybe try some grilled chicken or fish a couple of times a week.
Okay, so it's about like the overall
Yeah,
diet pattern,
exactly.
not just like demonizing one
Right.
particular food.
Nobody's saying you can never have bacon again.
Exactly.
It's about moderation and making informed choices.
So up next at number 9, we have sugary drinks,
Okay.
which I kind of get it. Like soda is definitely
Not a health food.
not a health food, but some of the juices on this list actually surprised me.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because we think of juice as being healthy,
Right.
but even if it's 100% fruit juice, it often doesn't have the fiber that you would get from eating the whole fruit. So you're basically getting a big dose of sugar without anything to slow down its absorption. And that can lead to those blood sugar spikes and crashes that we want to avoid.
So is that where the whole empty calorie?
Exactly. Empty calories, they provide energy, but they don't give you any of the nutrients that your body needs.
Yeah. So it's like filling up your gas tank with water.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Right. Like you might feel full, but you're not actually giving your body the fuel it needs to run properly.
And the thing is, sugar is sneaky. It hides in all sorts of places, even in things that seem healthy,
Like what?
like flavored yogurt, granola bars, even salad dressings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea to check those labels and see how much sugar is really lurking in there.
Okay. So number 8 on this list is fried foods.
The crispy deliciousness.
I know. French fries, fried chicken.
It's hard to resist.
Yeah. Like I feel like intellectually we all know that it's not the healthiest choice,
Right.
but it's so good.
It's so good.
So what's the main culprit here? Is it just the fat?
Well, it's partially the fat, especially the type of fat. A lot of places use oils that are high in trans fats for frying, and those are the ones that are really bad for our cholesterol levels and increase our risk of heart disease.
Right.
But there's also the issue of acrylamide.
Acrylamide.
Yeah, it's a chemical that forms in starchy foods like potatoes when they're cooked at high temperatures.
So this is like happening during the cooking process.
Yeah, it's a byproduct of the cooking process, and some studies have linked acrylamide to an increased risk of cancer.
So it's not just the fat itself, it's also
It's the chemical changes that happen
Yeah.
when you cook food at really high temperatures.
okay, that's interesting. But I guess the good news is that there are other ways to get that crispy texture.
Exactly. Baking,
Yeah.
air
A little
frying,
roasty.
those are all great options. They give you that satisfying crunch without all the downsides of deep frying.
Okay, great. So number 7 on this list is white bread and refined carbs.
Oh, the carb controversy.
Yeah. So is this like a no bread ever situation?
No, no, no. Bread can absolutely be a part of a healthy diet. It's all about choosing the right kind of bread. The issue here is with refined grains.
Okay.
So refined grains have been processed, and that processing strips away a lot of the nutrients and fiber.
So it's kind of like they've been like stripped down.
Exactly. They've been stripped of all the good stuff.
Hmm?
And what you're left with is a product that digests very quickly, which can lead to those blood sugar spikes and crashes.
Okay.
Whole grains, on the other hand, are digested slowly and provide sustained energy.
So it's all about reading the label and making sure you're choosing whole grain options.
Exactly. You want to see whole grain listed as the first ingredient on the ingredient list.
Okay. All right. Number 6 on the list is margarine.
Interesting.
And I got to admit, this one surprised me because I remember margarine being touted as like the healthy alternative to butter.
Right, like back in the day.
Yeah. We were all told to switch to margarine.
Yeah, so what happened?
Well, it turns out that some types of margarine are actually high in trans fats.
Oh, those trans fats again?
Yep. And as we talked about earlier, trans fats are really bad for our heart health.
Okay.
The good news is that a lot of margarine brands have reformulated their products to remove trans fats.
Okay.
But it's still important to check the label, just to be sure.
So another label reading moment.
Yeah. Always be a label detective.
Okay, so number 5 on the list is artificial sweeteners.
The sweet deception.
Right, because they're in all these diet products.
Right, and they're marketed as being healthier because they're lower in calories.
Right.
But it's not that simple.
So what's the issue with artificial sweeteners?
Well, there's some research that suggests that they might actually mess with our gut bacteria.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that can have a whole cascade of effects on our health.
Yeah. Plus, some studies have even shown that artificial sweeteners might actually increase our cravings for sugary foods.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, like they're supposed to be helping us.
You think they'd be doing the opposite,
Yeah.
but it seems like they might actually be making us want more sugar.
That's so sneaky.
It is. It just goes to show how complex our relationship with food is.
So are there any good alternatives? Like if we want to sweeten something.
Yeah, there are. There are definitely some natural sweeteners out there that are much better options,
Okay.
like stevia, monk fruit, erythritol. They don't have the same negative impacts on our gut health, and they don't seem to trigger those intense cravings.
Okay, good to know. All right, number 4 on the list is pretty obvious. Processed snack foods.
The king of empty calories.
Yes. We're talking chips, cookies, crackers, all that good stuff.
Stuff that disappears way too quickly,
Yeah, it's definitely delicious, but
but not exactly nutritious.
not exactly nutritious.
No.
So what makes these snacks so bad for us?
Well, they're basically a triple threat. They're high in sodium, sugar, and unhealthy fat.
Like the trifecta.
The trifecta of unhealthy eating. And they're often highly processed and engineered to be hyperpalatable.
Hyperpalatable. What does that mean?
It means they're designed to trigger our reward centers in the brain and make us want to keep eating more and more.
Oh, so they're like literally designed to be addictive.
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
They're designed to be irresistible.
So how do we resist then? Like how do we...
Well, I think the key is to be prepared. If you know you're going to be tempted by those snacks, have some healthy alternatives on hand.
Like what kind of alternatives?
A handful of nuts, some fruit, cut up veggies with hummus. These are all great options that will satisfy those cravings in a much more nutritious way.
So it's about like planning ahead.
Exactly. If you have healthy snacks readily available, you're much less likely to reach for the processed stuff.
All right, coming in at number 3 is microwave popcorn.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the convenience. But I have a feeling there's more to this story.
You're right. The issue with microwave popcorn isn't so much the popcorn itself, but the bag that it comes in.
Okay.
Some microwave popcorn bags are lined with chemicals like PFOA, which have been linked to some health problems.
So it's the chemicals leaching into the popcorn.
Exactly. And
Right.
nobody wants that in their snack.
So what's the alternative? Like,
Well, you can always go old school and make popcorn on the stovetop.
yeah.
It's super easy, and you have complete control over the ingredients.
And I guess you can get like an air popper too.
Absolutely. Air poppers are a great option, too. They use hot air to pop the kernels, so you don't need any oil at all.
Okay. So number 2 on this list is energy drinks.
Ah, liquid energy.
Yeah. So is this just like a general caffeine thing?
It's more than just the caffeine. It's the combination of high caffeine and loads of sugar that makes energy drinks so problematic.
Okay.
They give you that temporary boost of energy, But the crash afterwards can leave you feeling worse than before. Plus, all that caffeine can lead to anxiety, jitters, and sleep problems.
And what about like heart problems? I feel like I've heard.
Yes, there's definitely a concern there too. Energy drinks can raise your heart rate and blood pressure, and for some people, that can be dangerous.
So what's a healthier way to get energy?
Well, if you're tired, the best thing to do is just listen to your body and rest.
Yeah.
But if you need a little pick-me-up, there are some natural options that are much better than energy drinks.
Like what?
Green tea is a great choice. It has a moderate amount of caffeine, and it's loaded with antioxidants.
Okay.
And of course, staying hydrated is crucial for energy levels.
So water.
Water is always a good idea.
Okay. And finally, the number one worst food you should never eat
Drum roll, please.
is foods high in trans fats.
Ah, the villain of the nutrition world.
We've talked about trans fats a lot already, but just to reiterate, why are they so bad?
Trans fats are basically artificially created fats that are really bad for our heart health. They raise our bad cholesterol and lower our good cholesterol, which increases our risk of heart disease.
They're in like a lot of processed foods, right?
Yeah, they used to be everywhere. But thankfully, a lot of food manufacturers have phased them out of their products.
Okay.
But you still need to be vigilant and check those labels.
So what should we be looking for on the label?
The words partially hydrogenated oil, that's a telltale sign that trans fats are lurking.
Okay.
Avoid anything with those words on the ingredient list.
'Cause it seems like the biggest takeaway from all of this is just to be an informed consumer.
Right.
Like, this list isn't meant to make us afraid of food.
Exactly.
It's about empowering us.
It's about making conscious choices.
Yeah, to make choices that are aligned with our health goals.
And to understand that there are always healthier options available.
So if you had to pick one thing from this list to change in your diet, what would it be?
That's a great question to think about.
Let us know your thoughts. We're always curious to hear from you.
And in the meantime, happy eating. Yeah.
And healthy eating.
Yes.